2, 3, 4. In this podcast, you will hear Knights of Vader. Knights of Vader includes, but is not limited to, talk of Star Wars, not ray guns. We can't truly prepare you for the jump that follows this song, but hey, we gave it a try. So here's the Knights of Vader. Crystal Fox report, they are divided. Prequel, sequel, canon, love, they fighted. I know that we are just musicians tired, and their time is up. So here's the Knights of Vader.
Impressive. Most impressive.
A big thank you to An Insperiority Complex for providing our theme song. It is April 28th, 2021. My name is Zach Weber, and joining me is the master of the Hasbro helmets, Zenger.
I believe you're supposed to refer to me as Grand Admiral Zenger.
Okay, we're still on that kick a month later. And insert joke about Canadian vintage collecting here, Chris Porteous.
After the last time that you claimed I was third or fourth, I've been completely barred from the list, so I no longer have an official ranking.
Oh my God. All right, yes, folks, we are back. We are back to talk about The Bad Batch, the second most underwhelming thing Lucasfilm has given us this year. Am I wrong in saying that? Like the High Republic, like we kind of decided that kind of was what, DOA for the most part, and that like they keep just like pumping that out, and like I haven't read it still. I know Zenger's not thrilled with it.
Not thrilled with it would be like an understatement. I am I don't know which is worse, that or Young Sheldon. And I mean Young Sheldon as in Thrawn. The prequel Thrawn thing. I am attempting to get through it. It's a lot of
the second one or the first one?
The first one.
First one's pretty good. From the first Young Sheldon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got about like a third of the way through that. Like I was enjoying it. I just didn't have any time to sit down and read it.
I mean, it's okay. It's just Thrawn being Thrawn doing Thrawn stuff, but I'm like,
which is all we want.
I'm like, I kind of like him when he's around the Empire and doing something that I'm vaguely familiar with.
Well, the thing about it is that, like, with Thrawn in the Empire, he's the only competent person in the room, which is fun. It's fun to see a person that's good at their job around people that are horrible. The thing about the young Thrawn books is that, like, he's, like, just one intelligent person amongst a bunch. And it's like, Like, it could be better. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's solid, but, like, there's room for improvement. From what I'm hearing about that second book that just was released yesterday, is that it's even more of that. Like it's so removed from like Star Wars proper that like you could just change some of the names. It could be its own property. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, here's the thing. I have tried to get through Dune. I have continuously tried to get through Dune, and audio booking Young Sheldon is making me go, I feel I'm just trying to get through Dune again.
Zenger just like, you know what? I'm gonna go up on Dune and I'm gonna read Atlas Shrugged instead. Zenger's like, I'm just gonna go through all the ginormous like American literature.
If you're comparing young Thrawn to Dune, perhaps it's like the most authentic sci-fi Star Wars we've had in a long while.
Exactly.
I'm just comparing it as
different.
As I mean, it's interesting and it's great. It's just if you wanted anything to do with like I think once per every other chapter, there's some reference that you're like, oh wait, I get that. Like they talked about the Sith Wars or something at one point, and I was like, oh wait, that's a reference to something I understand. And then they immediately started talking about Skywalkers. And for you at home, it's not people. It's not like how everyone's a Skywalker. Apparently Qui-Gon may be a Skywalker ancestor or something now. I'm done with extended universe BS. While continuing to read extended universe BS.
It's called canon, sir.
It's called exactly.
Well, it's called blasphemy at this point.
Yeah, Star Wars, like I don't know, like like, okay, and we're gonna get into this because obviously, like, okay, we're gonna get to the Bad Batch, I promise. But like this, because obviously it's been a while since we've talked about just like general Star Wars stuff. It's been what 4 months since the Mandalorian episode. It's just that like it's weird the position that Star Wars is in right now. Like it's weird to think that the most exciting thing about Star Wars right now is that Ewan Mcdonald did an article or did like a thing in Vanity Fair about like just an interview, and he's like, yeah, the prequels sucked, nobody liked them. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad we're going right back to that narrative again. I'm glad that in like 16 years we're right back to where we started, just crapping on the prequels.
Hold on. So like, do you have an exact quote? Like, did we really get something like that?
Yes.
That's rough.
Okay, I'll get it right now. Like I said, okay, I am embellishing for dramatic effect, but I'll get you the exact quote right here.
Well, I'm hoping that when you dig up this quote, that it's something more to the effect of idiots didn't appreciate them at the time. But
no, but it's him. Like it's him like regurgitating okay.
Yeah, but it's like, but if they were so bad, we wouldn't want to see him in that role again. Like there's something missing in that narrative.
Like I said, I gotta find it. Oh God, where is it? Okay, they're talking about him coming back to the role. It's the same thing that always happens. Like these actors complain about where is it? Give me because I'm just trying to go through the article real fast right now.
I think he probably also like really hated the kid who played him in The Shining. Like, he probably thought that kid did a terrible job because the popular narrative, which lets him do The Shining 3, Mutants United, is that the first movie was bad.
This is great podcasting.
No, I'm trying to find it.
I tried to fill some air while you were looking at, but so they posted the whole interview, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Hollywood Reporter. Okay.
I'm just watching.
Okay, here it is. Okay,
thing on loop. Okay.
I found the quote. This is what Ewan Mcdonald said. Looking back, McGregor, whose subtle Obi-Wan was seen as a bright spot in the troubled series, acknowledged that it was, quote, was hard they didn't get well received. That was quite difficult. They were universally not very much liked, end quote. So once again, it's a narrative that nobody liked these movies. They made a fortune back in the day. Even Attack of the Clones made a fortune in 2002.
Boo.
I will give him, he said it's hard that they weren't well received. He is putting the blame on he is putting the blame on the audience, at least, and rather than the product, sort of.
It's their fault for not understanding its genius.
But it goes back to that, like, everybody, like, that's the thing. Those movies that aren't well liked, people don't go see. Like, that's the thing, is that, like, movies don't, like, you look at Attack of the Clones in 2002, that thing made like $600 and something million worldwide. That would be good by today's standards for like a blockbuster, like in the sense of like you'd be like, okay, like this is solid. This was like a decade before that became like the norm. Like everybody forgets, like Iron Man 2 comes out in 2010 and like $600 million was considered like, wow. And 8 years earlier, Attack of the Clones does it. And it's like, just because Spider-Man almost got to $1 billion, because Spider-Man was this weird sort of just pop culture tour de force. Because there's nothing quite like that.
Attack of the Clones did it amidst bad reviews at the time, which is the amazing part. And then,
that's the thing. And then like you get to like, again, like Phantom Menace comes out in 99, almost cracks $1 billion in 99, which like Titanic, again, second highest grossing movie of all time at that moment, only to Titanic.
But
Attack of the Clones falters by like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but I'll never forget Roper giving Attack of the Clones a thumbs up. Like, I was like, my man.
Exactly. And then like Revenge of the Sith comes out and it makes like 850 in 2005. And it only came in second worldwide to, I think, Goblet of Fire that year by maybe, I think like only like $30 million. So like, I don't get this narrative. Like the films all did well. Like they all made money. They all sold their merchandise. Like outside of maybe the Phantom Menace, because that was just overproduced to such an extreme like level. But like, I just don't get where that comes from. Like, and I wonder, like now, like, like I said, I promise we'll get to the Bad Batch, but it's like what's happening right now at The Force Awakens is that, like, trust me, I am the loudest complainer about when it comes to The Force Awakens. But like now, people are like, yeah, that movie sucked. I'm like, I was there in December 2015 where all these goddamn goobers, whether they be filthy casuals or hardcore fans, were losing their minds over this, and I was like, folks, this is subpar. This is not, like, the prequels did it better. And then, like, it was weird that, like, again, to this day, Rogue One is the lowest grossing Star Wars film of the Disney era.
And funny enough,
barring Solo, which is
it's the most well received and, like, the most praised out of all of, like, you ask anybody and nobody has a bad opinion about Rogue One, minus, like, maybe 3 people.
Exactly.
And I'm coming for them.
It's the lowest grossing Star Wars film of the Disney era, barring Solo, which was an outlier. And that was just poor marketing, poor planning.
I mean, I guess it's hard to make an exception when there's only 5 of them, but that is a unique circumstance when they reshot some high percentage of it.
But that's the thing, though, is that, like, if, like, okay, like, when you look at, like, Disney Star Wars and you look at, like, what's considered quote unquote controversial, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, easily the most controversial films from the fans' perspective when it comes to reception. And yet, like, Last Jedi is the second highest grossing movie of the Disney era. Like the proof is in the pudding. That film, like, financially, quantitatively speaking, it's there. People like that movie. And, like, even Rise of Skywalker, which you can tell people were kind of burned out at that point. But, like, still, like, people might not be thrilled with it, but, like, it got across the finish line.
Did it?
It did. I don't think people are thrilled with it, but, like, I still to this day defend my phrasing of it's the most unintentionally brilliant Star Wars film ever made.
So I don't know about you guys, but I listen to, like, some other podcasts that I won't name that are, like, as close as you can get to loving everything that Disney does. And like, they will not defend Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, I appreciate you not naming ZengThis, but I mean, I can defend myself. Thank you.
I didn't want it to go to your head.
Thank you.
But okay, but this is the thing about the Rise of Skywalker. But this is the thing about the Rise of Skywalker that I find fascinating, and we're going to tie this into Star Wars toy collecting, is that, like, the Rise of Skywalker, out of, like, any Star Wars property ever, got the least amount of merchandise, like, devoted to it. And yet now people, like, that merchandise now is surging in price because everybody's realizing, like, oh crap, this was it. Like, we're not getting anything else from this movie. What, 5 figures from the movie and that's it? What, Rey, Poe, Zori Bliss, Knight of Ren, and I think there's one more. In the Sith Troopers, there's 2 Sith Troopers.
There's a Sith Trooper and a Sith Jet Trooper, and I'm not looking so stupid trading my Kenner Colors Black Series Boba Fett for that wave now. It's looking good.
Like, in all honesty, you probably quadrupled your money. If you're looking at this, like, solely, like, in a dollars, like, point of view, you probably quadrupled your money.
That early Canada leak was very amusing, but those figures are pretty good. Like, like, I've never really, like, I got one of that whole wave for the movie. I got one to open and one to keep carded for the 3 3/4 stuff. And, like, they started the phase printing. Like, that Rey is a pretty great figure, honestly. And, like, it came with a bunch of stuff. The Sith Trooper is kind of cool. I don't remember seeing him in the movie, but, like, I like the design.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Star Wars is at a very weird point right now where, once again, like, obviously the current state of the world isn't doing it any favors. But on top of that, it's just the notion that I think Disney, once again, doesn't know what Star Wars is. They just don't know what to do with it. And it's just like, it's grasping at straws. And this is where we'll nicely transition into the Bad Batch. Where they're just like, well, like what is it that people want to see? Well, they like Clone Wars. Yeah, but that ended. So what are we going to do? We'll just pick up right where it left off.
On that note, I mean, this is a slight tangent, but have you guys ever heard of an app, a new revolutionary social media app called Clubhouse?
Sounds like a Canadian thing.
Okay, well, this is an invite-only social media app where they have discussions about everything, and it's like podcasting, only it's never saved, right? And there's a Star Wars group on there, and you better believe I listened to it a couple weeks ago. And they have like a weekly meetup where they just talk about, it's just like super filthy casuals, like concepts, right? Like basic bare bones, like Star Wars stuff. And it's so positive and like sequel trilogy loving. And like they're just talking about how great the like sequel trilogy is. And then they have to not anyone can talk. They have to like sort of spotlight someone to talk, right? And they spotlight this guy who I forget his name, but he identified himself as the voice actor who played Obi-Wan in like the like Phantom Menace era video games. And like this guy and this guy just started dropping like so much stuff. Like I just reminded me when you said Disney doesn't know what Star Wars is. He was like, well, you know, with that sequel trilogy, and he sang it in like basically an Obi-Wan voice. They thought they knew better than the hero's journey and archetypal stories, and they thought, you know, we know better than that. We're going to structure the narrative this way. And and just the aghast at which this group was hearing this he went on for like 20 minutes about just like why he thought the sequel trilogy was not successful from a sort of Joseph Campbell perspective. And they all just like had no idea what to say. And it was a beautiful thing. And I'm so sad it wasn't recorded, because it was like Dollar General Obi-Wan explaining what's wrong with the sequel trilogy to a bunch of people who love it. It was a beautiful thing. And I agree that like they probably didn't look at structuring the story from the same vantage point.
But that's the thing though, is that like they tried with The Force Awakens and they then wanted to do something different. And that clearly didn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, like I suppose like The Force Awakens is one of those things where it's like it played it safe enough that it didn't offend anyone, but it didn't like Lucas said it best himself. Like this didn't bring anything new to the table.
But this is the thing that I find, like I said, we're good by tie this into the Bad Batch, I promise. But like, because this is how I'm going to tie this into the Bad Batch. Is that like I watched all the Bad Batch like marketing, kind of absorbed a lot of the stuff. I even rewatched the story arc from the Clone Wars with them. And essentially what the Bad Batch is going to be, it's going to be Star Wars 18. Like that's just what it's going to be. It's going to be that for at least the first season. But like, I think that's the thing with Disney though, is that like Hollywood is built on the philosophy of X married to Y equals what I want to do. Like there's the infamous story. And again, if you listen to Cinemoddities, Rob and I always kind of just like at this point mock it. Is like Jimmy C goes to like 20th Century Fox and he's like Romeo and Juliet on that. And he paints like a portrait of the Titanic. And I think that's what Star Wars is becoming now, is that like, okay, we're going to do the Bad Batch. What is it? It's the 18, but Star Wars. It's like, oh, like, it's like, well, what are we going to do with another property, like the High Republic? It's Star Trek, but Star Wars. And it's like, and that's just what it is. So
it's just a sandbox within which you can do stories that other movies have tried, rather than trying to center it on the sort of hero's journey that the original trilogy was sort of focused on.
Well, yeah, like in the sense of like it's kind of like, as I've seen it, the James Bond conundrum, where James Bond has more or less been like a reflection of the whatever's like popular in the culture at the moment it's released, like whether it be like Moonraker, Casino Royale, Goldeneye, like it's always more like less like a reflection of what's popular at that moment.
Quantum of Solace.
What, the writer's strike?
Yeah, it's a reflection of it. That was an awful movie.
That's amazing that if Quantum of Solace is a writer's strike movie, like that's amazing, because like you could almost see it like a mile away.
You can see the picket signs in the background.
Daniel Craig helped write that movie.
We got a revolutionary idea. We're going to do an actual sequel in James Bond.
Yeah, pretty much. Which was what The Last Jedi was. A genuine continuation of the first film where it left off. And there you go. Like, that's the thing. It's like Disney, this is the thing about Disney. Disney's always been, since forever a highly reactive company. Like they don't like taking risks. They love playing within the sandbox. And then like you have The Last Jedi, which is them like you have Rian Johnson that was writing that film as JJ was filming The Force Awakens. JJ was changing things constantly. And then like Force Awakens is more or less like in the can by like December 2016. And they sit on it for almost a year, making just minimal changes here and there. And then it comes out and it becomes this weird sort of like cultural touch point in the Star Wars fandom. And Disney goes, oh God. And they panic. And that's when Mandalorian was being like in pre-production and being written. And that's where you get the Mandalorian where it's like, oh God, like what did we do? And it's like, we're going to sit there kind of do a full stop and reverse because we're afraid of what might happen. And that's the thing that's weird right now is that like you have like the ending of the Mandalorian season 2, which I would say is one of the very few things in the last decade has received a universal acclaim across the entire spectrum of the fan base. Like, I don't think there's a single Star Wars fan that's upset at the way Luke was portrayed in those final, 7 minutes? But like,
that's probably generous, but yes.
Sure, but still, I don't think anyone's that
more
angry.
6, but yes, very generous.
But still, it's that idea that, like, Lucasfilm did nothing to build off of that. Like, let's take once again, everybody knows Chris and I are the action figure people. Like, you have the Falcon and Silver Arm, and like you have that 6th episode come out with Anthony Mackie in like the Captain America costume.
Whoa,
and
spoiler alert.
Yeah, okay. If you haven't seen the ending of Endgame where he hands him the shield, I guess. But if you're Ellie,
wait, we need an entire 6 miniseries. Episode miniseries to explain how he gives said shield away, but then gets it back.
Exactly. That what I'm realizing between WandaVision and Falcon and Silver Arm is that the TV shows are there solely because you just like Marvel. You do not need to watch them to understand the story. They're just there to kind of just like what's the word? They're time wasters. Like not in a bad way, but
they are there to move people and ideas around so that they aren't burning movies on them anymore. Because a WandaVision movie would not have worked. A Winter Soldier and Captain Falcon would not have worked either. I mean, sorry, Winter.
Is that we're calling him now Captain Falcon?
Winter Falcon and
he's
Soldier
Silver
Captain.
Arm. Ever since Russ said that to me, it's Captain Falcon and Silver Arm. That is the name of the show.
What Zack said, it's just moving parts into place instead of them burning an entire subplot in a movie on it now.
I don't think it's even moving into place because like we're basically right back to where we left off at the end of it.
Well, I'm talking
like
more.
He has
more
the shield.
WandaVision.
It doesn't matter.
So
nothing's changed.
So you mean as someone who watched none of it, I am completely caught up? That's great.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it's exactly.
Wanda's like doing something with magic and Vision. There's a Vision floating around right now that might or might not have the memories of the original Vision, and
they brought Vision back to life. Like the one character that died in like Infinity War and stayed dead, they brought back to life.
And then Bucky's having to deal with the issues of his past, while Falcon's.
Yeah, wasn't that the point of Civil War?
No, these are other issues with his past.
What? Okay, the point of this. Okay, before we get into the Marvel rabbit hole, the point of this being is that like Anthony Mackie is Captain America, and like literally like the day after they do like a full like PR blitz with toys, like Colbert, like Anthony Mackie's on the Colbert thing. Like they're doing all this stuff, like hyping up, being like, oh man, like you just saw him like in the Captain America costume. He's Captain America now. They're capitalizing on the hype. And then you have Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian season 2. Everyone's like, oh man, like they're jacked. And Lucasfilm's just like, here's some High Republic. And everyone's just like the 3 people there, like, what? And they're like, yeah. And like those 3 people are already gone. And it's like, okay, like here's your books. And that's
it makes me so happy that virtually no one is sticking up for the High Republic. Like I can't find anyone who really is.
If it didn't use a crutch called Yoda the entire time.
Whoa. Chris, in order for someone to stick up for it, they have to read it first.
And I did. I can talk about it.
Insert air horn noise here.
There's a Gungan in it that's a lunatic. And even that didn't sell me. There is another character called Yoda that they keep on talking about because God forbid they have another character.
So,
Every other
you're
sentence is,
saying they've been avoiding
Master Yoda do?
So, Zenger, hold on, like stop everything. Zenger, are you caught up on High Republic media?
Yeah, technically,
he's
I read the
not.
book.
No, he's not. He read one book. There's like 7.
and
there.
that
There's
was
like 4
more
issues of the
than I
comic.
should have.
Zenger's not caught up. He was caught up for about 15 minutes.
How many comics are there? Like 6 issues or something?
I don't care.
There's at least 3 out so far right now, I think. There's like January, February, March. There should be I think it might be up to 5 by now. Like next month, like by like May.
Like, okay.
And the Rock and the Geode thing is real, right?
What?
Yeah, that's real. That was in one. That was in, I think, one of the books. There's the Geode. Yeah, it's real.
I appreciate what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm like, I could be less interested in this. I mean, it's new Star Wars stuff, cool, but I just don't like how it has to rely on. Okay, this is oxymoronic because I'm saying I don't like the new Thrawn stuff because it doesn't rely on any existing Star Wars stuff, but I hate the New Republic stuff because it relies too much on existing Star Wars stuff. I'm a very confused individual, and I think I'm a perfect voice for the Star Wars fan of this day and age. Anyways, Disney,
But like, what?
please
but,
make
like,
a show I
okay,
like.
hold on a sec. But this is the question, though. Is it like we have the Bad Batch coming out in less than a week? It premieres May 4th.
Maybe with
like
you.
clearly this thing is not going to sit there get like a fraction of the attention that the Mandalorian did. But like that. This is the question, though. Is that like what is Disney want? Is this just filler? Until like what? Like what's the next big Star Wars thing after Bad Batch? The Book of Boba Fett?
Season 3 of Mandalorian?
That's not, but like season 3 Mandalorian isn't until like November of 22?
Sure.
So like
now
that's
now you're getting to like the thing I can't help but wonder. It's like what you were saying about Falcon and Winter Soldier. There are certain episodes of The Mandalorian, season 1 and 2, that honestly feel like a pointless side quest of a video game where they told him to do this random task and get over to this planet. And that feels like I don't need to know the middle part of this story. I just need to know where it begins and where it ends. And I mean, it helps that those are actually unique characters to that series, unlike Falcon and Winter Soldier. So like there's sort of a self-contained narrative there, but there certainly are episodes that feel like filler episodes out of whatever it is, 16 episodes, something like that, maybe less.
Wait, a Falcon and Winter Soldier? There's 6.
No, I'm
6?
talking about all of Mandalorian, but whatever it is, something like that, right?
well, like okay, like I will concede that in any television series, not every episode can be like there needs to be some like breather episodes where stuff just happens. Like not every episode can be high stakes.
Right, but at the end of the day, in the scheme of the Star Wars saga, Din Djarin is Joe Mandalorian, and he doesn't actually matter that much. So why?
No, he will. He will, because he's gonna play a huge part in Mandalore history. Like you wait and see. Like it's like what's his name? Giancarlo Esposito said. He's like, oh man, if you like my character in season 2, wait until we get to season 3. And then
Mandalore history is not really like if you're looking at the like episode 1 to 9, Mandalore history doesn't even mean anything.
But that's the thing, though, is like this is Disney not knowing what they're doing, in the sense not knowing, but just kind of like not having a plan. They're making this up as they go along, and that's the thing, though. They're just kind of like they're being reactive. Like it's the Warner Brothers DC thing where it's like Man of Steel comes out and it's like, oh, it didn't make as much money. How do we sit there and make it like guarantee it makes more money? We'll throw Batman there. Oh crap, that makes like only $200 million more, $100 million more. It's very reactive, like planning.
That's where it gets weird because supposedly, if we're to believe what we're hearing, Rogue Squadron is the first movie on the docket that takes place post episode 9, right?
I do want to say that like the post episode 9 thing for that movie is a rumor. Like that, like, nobody knows for certain. That is apparently we have not heard anything officially about that since that like awkward like Patty Jenkins like getting naked in the back like in the trunk of a Tesla.
Exactly what it was.
Exactly what it was. One of the strangest like pieces of like PR I've ever seen. But like we don't know what that is. Like from what I've
never
heard.
Listen, as someone who works painstakingly with people in companies to read off a teleprompter and not sound awkward, that was one of the most awkward teleprompter readings I've ever heard. And it's like, give her another take, guys. Like, slow it down a bit or something. Like,
they used up all the takes with her rollerblading.
Yeah.
She kept crashing. They had to do retakes, and they used up all the film for that day.
She's
so they
just
only had one take.
She's just speed running through that script. Like, there's no emotion whatsoever.
But that's what I mean,
an
though.
Emotional story. Oh my God, it's Star Wars again.
But this is the thing, though, is that like from what I've heard, that like that deal was signed literally like 2-3 days before that like promo video was filmed. And on top of that, like I don't like after the very contemptuous like reception to Wonder Woman 1984, I don't see that film helmed by Patty Jenkins coming to fruition. I just don't, because Warner Brothers wants her to prioritize Wonder Woman #3. I just don't see it. Lucasfilm's too reactive. For the same reason why that like we got the Rian Johnson announcement, almost 4 years ago now, and like people still ask Rian Johnson about that, and he's like I'm signed to it, but like until they tell me to prioritize it, I can't really do anything. Like they signed me, but like they're telling me not to worry about it. So like I'm kind of in a holding pattern.
That's what I don't like about this. That's what I don't like about this. Patty Jenkins, I want them to, like, if they want to prioritize like having a female director for a feature, like give me somebody who like has never done anything besides music videos. Like take a chance on somebody. Don't pick
But that's what they did with Rian Johnson, though. Like in Gareth Edwards, they only had a very limited track record, and they like even look at Lord Miller. Like, yes, those guys had a track record, but it was very much like outside their comfort zone. And now you get Cowboy Hat Man, Jon Favreau, and Robert Rodriguez. They're very established people.
Yeah, there's something ultimately mildly unexciting about The Mandalorian, and maybe I'm probably completely alone in thinking that, but like you almost know that there's not going to be like a bewildering curveball.
But this is the thing, though. I can remember those rumors that we were okay. There's a lot to freaking discuss right now. But like you also have the giant question mark in this that kind of is what would be the disruptor in the equation is Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a giant disruptor in how everybody, including the studio system, which has been operating more or less the same for the last 30 years, and that like there's things like. And I kind of wanted to save this discussion for what we originally had planned for this. But like, there's the thing of like, they released the animated holiday special footage, like in HD on Disney Plus. And it's like, that means they have like, at the very least, a master copy of it.
Well, not necessarily, because they do, but they did put the animated clip out on the Blu-ray before, and they could have just easily worked from that.
Sure, that's fun, but that still means they might not have. I would be shocked if they don't have the original negative, but at the very least, they have a master somewhere.
I think literally the only reason you'll never see that is because of one particular scene.
The Wookiee dad. Grandpa?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think just
Diane
that
Carroll.
is what.
Diane Carroll?
Yeah, I think just that is what's stopping you. And I think they think it's too weird if they just cut out that one part because people talk about it.
No, because they want people. Because I think like George Lucas. Remember, Kathleen Kennedy is also friends with Lucas, like on a private level. Like he considered that like that was his that was his lowest point where he had the least amount for a man that was a control freak. That was when he had the least amount of control over what was happening. Like I said, I don't see that series ever getting HD treatment because nobody cares about it. Like
it's beside. Well, first of all, I mean, the copies of it you can find. In a sense, they're like the purest version because like that's the quality anyone ever saw when it came out. So it's not like a movie that came out in theaters where like if you were sitting there and you had your butt in the seat and you're looking at a 35 millimeter projection where you're actually seeing it in you're in the 70s and you're seeing it in like basically 4K because it's like a real like 35 millimeter projection. It's not like that. Like everyone who saw the holiday special saw it in garbage quality, like original.
And but like that adds to the charm of it, though.
Right,
like,
but it's out there.
See
You
that
can
in
get
HD?
it.
That's what I mean, though. But like, but that's okay. But getting to the point of all this is that like you have them like again. Think about it. Early in April, they have like, oh, we're like doing the animated classics of Lucasfilm. Like we're giving you the animated thing of the holiday special. We're giving you like Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. We're giving you Ewoks. We're giving you all this stuff. The Droids cartoon. They wouldn't be doing that unless they were desperate for content. They're desperate for content right now.
Also, this is a great time to poll you guys. Like, what do we feel about the likelihood that Detours is actually going to?
Oh my God! Like, just yes, do it, yes.
But like, do you think it will actually happen? Because what was the rumor? May 4th.
I have vacation days saved up to call in, just dead to work, and then be like, see you on Tuesday, and then hang up the phone and just sit and watch.
Because that would be the ultimate evidence of desperate for content.
But this is the thing, though. If we don't get that, if we don't get that by May,
all right,
is Star Wars? Okay, this is the thing, though. Is Star Wars Detours like it's filler? Like, there's two tiers of content. There's filler content, and then there's like content that will actually drive subscribers to the like streaming service. That is filler content. No one's gonna sign up for Disney Plus who isn't already subscribed. Gonna do so for Star Wars Detours. They're just not.
How do you view the Ewok movies? Because like that's something where if you wanted to watch it before that, you had to drop $50 on eBay for a DVD.
But that's insanely niche though. Like insanely niche. Like, but that was something like there's a difference. The Ewok series and the Droids cartoon is nostalgia. That is rooted in nostalgia. You can't have nostalgia for something that you never watched unless you're Zenger. Unless you're Zenger, nobody is nostalgic for Detours. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, you are 100% correct.
But I think you're right and wrong because like the people who lived through the perfection of the Robot Chicken era of Palpatine. That's the people who want Detours, and you're not getting those
who lived through that period.
Episodes.
But that's the thing though. The people who lived through that era of like Star Wars fandom, like the late 2000s, like there's people that like if they ever did release Star Wars Detours on Disney Plus, will torrent it. They're not gonna like if they're not already subscribed to Disney Plus, they're not going to for that. That is not like Hack Snyder's Justice League. Like that is not that level of incentive. I don't think so.
I mean, you're probably right, but like I feel like if I weren't already a Disney shell subscribed to Disney Plus, I would probably subscribe just for Detours. Like if I might
get a second.
But you're okay, but
just to have a second subscription.
Oh my God!
But like Chris,
But Chris, yeah, fine. But Chris, this is the thing though, is that like when it comes to like you and I and Zenger are like the definition of like super fans. Like the moment Disney bought Star Wars in 2012, they had our money. They'll have our money until the day we die for every single like movie. They're gonna have it. Like they know we are just dyed in the wool, like hardcore fans.
That's so true.
They're not doing this for us. They're doing it for the normies.
That's so true, and I was so sad that day. I never thought we'd like. I like it turned out like I think I've said this before, but it turned out reflecting on it some 7 or 8 years later, it turned out 70% the way I thought it would. I didn't think we'd ever get anything like at least as good as The Mandalorian, so like, it could have been worse.
But that's the thing, though, is that like. Okay, but to go back to this, and this is again, I'm very frustrated that I'm trying, folks. I'm trying to get this back on the Bad Batch, but like, I remember this was back in like 2018, maybe early 2019. There was a tweet that was going around or an Instagram post, I don't know, but the thing was, it was a picture of the Rey Kylo Ren Praetorian Guard fight sequence in Throne's throne room, and it says can you imagine showing someone this in 2012 after the Disney announcement, being like, this is what Star Wars is gonna look like in 5 years. And that's the thing, is that Disney has been as much as we complain about them, they have their era of Star Wars is unique. There's no yes, they rest on the laurel of nostalgia very, very hard. But at the same time, though, if you look at any of the eras of Star Wars, you can tell what something is from. You
but
can
isn't it,
almost visually.
But isn't it realistically just the second era of Star Wars, though?
Not really, because I think you have OG. It's kind of like comics now. And again, Zenger, you're the comics person, so tell me if this is an apt comparison. But you have your golden era, you have your silver era, you have bronze era, and that's the thing though. You have your OG era, which is your original trilogy, 1977.
Where do you cut that off though? Do you cut that off to at 96?
84.
So
then
Shadows of the Empire is more of a prequel trilogy phenomenon.
I think what it is though is that's just something caught in between of everything. It's kind of like a dead zone, so to speak. Is that you have what was it called, the Dark Times? From
the Best Times? Is that what you meant? I think it's called the Best Times. That's what I would call it, because you had the wonderful Star Wars Galaxies trading cards. You had some of the best video games ever. You had people who actually
best Star Wars video games. The best Star Wars video games I think really I think 2005 is the glory year of Star Wars video games.
Okay.
I know, but this is the point I'm getting at. Let me finish the point. Then you can contradict me. Is that then you have the Dark Times, which is you're 91 to 98. Then you have the prequel trilogy, 99 to 2006. And then you have 2006 to 2008 is just they don't know what the hell they're doing. And then you have 2008 to about 2012 where it's holding pattern, where it's the franchise is on ice. It feels like it's out of steam. You have Force Unleashed, which was good. Force Unleashed 2 felt forced, and nobody kind of knew what was going to happen. And then you have 2012 to 2016 where it's just hype train. And then you have 2017 to onward where it's the backlash era, where it's just no, regardless of what they do, everything has a backlash to it. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm not sure if we're in a transition point or if we're at the end of the backlash era. Because, to be honest, for the ever since, for the last 6 months, there really hasn't, but other than this, the usual just bitching and moaning, there hasn't been a lot of complaining in the fandom.
Except about the High Republic.
But that's just
no. Complete indifference is not complaining.
Exactly. People can't complain if they haven't consumed it. You can't stand outside a restaurant you've never been to and been the food sucks.
Oh,
you just can't. Sorry.
But why? Okay, I on principle I agree with you, but why haven't you consumed it? It's because of the perception.
No. The reason, I'll be completely honest. I literally do not have enough time to get everything I need to get done in a day. The reason why this podcast isn't beyond my emotional trauma of last year between a horrendous breakup, parent dying. The reason why I haven't gotten to, I'm not joking. These are all the Star Wars books I have to read. I have I'm going to go through my shelf right now. It's I have it right next to me. I have Young Sheldon #1. From a certain point of view, Empire Strikes Back edition.
I really believe that no one knows what you're talking about when you say Young Sheldon.
Oh, if you read the book, you know exactly what we were talking about.
I have this is a book that I was so excited to read. It's called Star Wars Dark Legends, and it's the Target version, so it has more little short Star Wars spooky stories to it. I have that. I have like the manga version of the Legends of Luke Skywalker. I have like the Skywalker Saga like family story that was just released a couple of weeks ago. I literally just got Young Sheldon #2 in the mail this afternoon. I have 3 High Republic books I need to read. Like, I want to consume all this. The problem is that I have an hour-and-a-half commute to work every day, and I work like a 10-hour-a-day job.
Well, I'll tell you what, Zack,
I have a lot on my plate.
I'll tell you what will help you with that, Zach. If you go to audibletrial.com/ZengThis, you can get audiobooks and just audiobook them like I do. You can also get great titles such as Embark by John Justice.
How many books is John Justice up to now? It's the same amount of children you have, Zenger. We like in the triple digits.
No, he surpassed me, I think. I think he finally surpassed me. Excellent. I got his.
Are we in that weird phase where we
here.
don't know if it's a second trilogy or if just...
I know there's a spin-off book at one point. There was a spin-off book.
There is a spin-off book, but now he's in the second trilogy.
I think he did the equivalent of what Stephanie Meyer was doing with Twilight. That he like rewrote the first book from like the opposite sex's character. I think John's going through. He's like all the stardom has like went to his head, and he's really just like flexing that creative like clout. And he's just like, I'm gonna do it all. Like there's like a stage musical involved, like Shrek. There's Embark, the stage musical. There's like McDonald's toys. Can I tell you guys a really quick like McDonald's story? Because you guys know there's currently Star Wars toys at McDonald's, right?
Yes, and my kids get very upset when we say the girls. We have 2 girls, and they're like, "But we want the Star Wars toys."
That is
they're not in Canada yet. We're still on Pokemon.
Okay, but this is the thing I find really fascinating, and I'm glad Zenger brought up the thing about like the genders. Is that like it's kind of like what they used to do back. Like I didn't think they still did this, especially in the current like, oh god, gender climate that we're in, if that's a thing. Or like they have like the like little girl toys and little boy toys. Like the little girl toys are Disney princesses, which I think are actually cooler toys than the Star Wars one. I actually have the Moana one, and I'm like, this is really cool. I kind of like it. I have it at my desk at work. But like the Star Wars ones, like I drove by a McDonald's today. And this is the thing. If you look at the Star Wars toys,
they have the McRib?
They have the Star Wars toys, and like they're all just like the male characters, like heads, like a bobblehead, like on a Star Wars classic ship. Like it's Kylo Ren's head on like the TIE Silencer. It's like Chewbacca's head on the Millennium Falcon, Luke's head on the X-Wing, and so on and so forth. But on the poster, like at the McDonald's for like advertising the toys, it's Rey on the boy side. And I'm just like, but there's no Rey toy.
Oh, I see.
Like
okay, I see what you're getting.
It's like why would you have Rey on the boy side if there's no like Rey toy, and B, if the whole point is you're splitting this up by like gender differences? I'm like, it's weird that like why are you like put a stock image of Kylo Ren? There's no shortage of those floating around.
I mean, the character selection on that set really did baffle me. It's like you'd think they would have at least gone the softball route of having like a like ANH like Cinnabon Leia on a Tantive 4 or something, just to have like one. They didn't even
have a Din Djarin on the Razor Crest. Like it's the definition of just like lazy.
It's like it almost feels like it was supposed to be timed with Rise of Skywalker, but they just didn't do it, and they kept it on ice till now.
But there were Rise of Skywalker toys
at McDonald's.
Yeah, there were actually. Yes, they're
weird.
I feel like they just have like Star Wars float through every now and then there. Anyway, Zach, your appalling statement of 2005 is the best year for Star Wars video games. Defend your statement now.
I can do this. Yeah, you can sit this one out. Republic Commando, Battlefront 2? ? Revenge of the Sith, which is hilarious and fun and has an alternate ending where Anakin like doesn't get burned. There's got to be one more.
I mean, there's a big one you're missing, like huge, like
I don't count Lego
Star Wars. Lego Star Wars.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that too.
What else was there in 2005? KOTOR 2. KOTOR 2.
Yes. Also, the like expansion on top of expansions for Star Wars Galaxies and Empire Divided. You remember that?
Is that the one where you could fully experience Light Day?
Yeah, that's the Star Wars online game before Old Republic. That, people swore by, and then it's shut down now. So who had the last laugh?
Somebody's keeping it running. I was hearing about people still playing Galaxies online somehow. Like there's some rogue service still going somehow.
I mean, you do have a point, Zach. So I will give it to you that the 2005 was a solid year for.
Okay, can we please circle back to the point of this discussion, like Bad Batch, because like the whole thing, like there was rumors going around like in the mid 2000s that like the sequel to Republic Commando was going to be called Imperial Commando and was going to like follow like the aftermath of Order 66 from the perspective of like Republic Commandos.
God,
and
I
this is
cannot wait for those characters to be like, we're on the wrong side, and then switch sides, because God forbid you get to play as the bad guys.
Okay, calm your butt down for a second. Let's at least talk about the bad guys. Okay,
you got to play as the bad guys in that Starfighter game, and it kind of sucked.
Okay, calm your butt down. Everybody, chill. Bad Batch. We got to talk about the Bad Batch, so at least I don't feel like we're lying in the title episode of this. This is the thing: is that like we've been kind of like low key thinking about this as a series idea, like as fans for like 16 years now. But like, what do we want from this series? Like, what is the goal? Like, of course, like I've watched the trailer a couple times. Like we see Captain Rex. Like I think, like spoiler alert, and this is technically a spoiler. So if you don't want to hear this, like skip ahead like 5 minutes. Crosshair defects, and he's in charge of like the squad that's like in charge of finding the Bad Batch.
I mean, that was a toy that did that.
Well, the trailer shows it, because you can see one of those elite squad clone troopers like the exact same like style armor that he wears, even with like his like sniper rifle over his right shoulder.
All right. Well,
the trailer gave it away. The toy just the toy like corroborated though, but the theory's like it's been there since like the second trailer. But like Chris, like what do you expect to come of this show? Like both like narratively and like for the fan base at large.
Well, you just heavily spoiler alerted me. I watched both trailers today.
You didn't know Crosshair defected?
No, and that's rough. But I mean, I have to struggle
Chris.
to remember which.
I'm sorry.
Let me guess. Crosshair is the one who has a sniper rifle, right? That sounds about right.
That is literally what I said. But yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got a sniper rifle, so that's his personality. Got it. So
I still like last year when we talked about this, Zenger described the characters like you have Rambo clone trooper, you have Hulk clone trooper, you have Sniper clone trooper, and you have how'd you describe the guy who's in charge of technology? You're like you have Q branch clone trooper.
That'd be a pilot or engineer probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, he's the engineer.
It's basically you ever see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they give all the turtles different like body sizes and everything, and like Raphael's like twice the size of the other ones for some reason, and Donna, it's the same concept. But I'm these are clones. They are clones of like, oh, they have a few defective genes. Then why don't they all look the same? The one is just straight up Rambo.
Isn't it quaint when it's so quaint when they think the mechanics of an arcade beat 'em up will apply well to a narrative program, but I think it's one of those things where it like they're not hiding the fact that they want to play around with some Clone Wars ideas that they didn't get time to do. Like I don't know if it's the first or the second trailer, but one of them has the Clone Wars logo burning away and turning into the Bad Batch logo as if to say, here's your next Clone Wars episodes. Yeah. So
that's been the ongoing joke that this is just season whatever of Clone Wars.
Yeah, so do you think we'll see anything like, I'm not saying like we got in season 7 where it's like they literally finished up some episodes, but do you think we'll see any story beats that were teased in some of the animatic episodes that we didn't eventually get that will be sort of played out, or do you think we're past that at this point?
Do you want my dumb prediction of stupidity? Because I think I might have some of this figured out.
Yes, Zenger. Zenger,
Okay,
that's
good.
what the audience is here for. They've been waiting roughly
Awesome.
90 minutes, or not even like an hour, just for this.
Also, how old is Fennec? Just asking. It's a very important question because
She's the same age she is in real life, where she looks magnificent at like 50 something right now.
okay, good. I just
She
wanted to make sure I
ages
was
like
on the same.
Bo-Katan. She ages like Bo-Katan.
Awesome. I
Fountain of
need
Youth.
to
Even
get
better
on-
than her, but yeah.
Yeah. No, because I was just wondering. Cause I'm like, how is she in this? I'm like, unless like they go for a huge twist and it's like time jumps like 20 years
See,
or
but
something.
that's actually more realistic because like she's 50 now, whereas like Katie Sackhoff is 40 now, but her character should be like 50 something.
Okay, so my prediction is this. Since there's this whole A-Team whatever BS, I'm wondering if Tarkin is not impressed with them. Like, 'cause he's like, it costs too much to, run this squad or this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
So then
I
he's like,
Absolutely.
I'm disbanding you guys. He goes, I have
think
no
that's
interest.
episode 1. I think that's episode 1 or 2. Like, I don't think they last long under the Empire's rule in this series.
Well, because God forbid, once again, we have a Empire point of view. Like I said, that's honestly reading the Thrawn books was the best thing I could have done because it is 100% from the Empire's point of view. Yeah, they're all incompetent and yell at each other the entire time and just start at each other's throats, and I'm like, that's what I want. It's like
It's like Captain
hate-
Kennedy in episode 8, like the funniest thing about the whole movie, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with this. They can't work with the Empire because that's bad. So they're gonna switch, and they're gonna be this ragtag group that goes around and apparently has a kid with them. Which,
But doesn't that come down? That's the whole problem, right? It's like, imagine if Clone Wars season 7, we actually had something morally challenging, like Ahsoka having to kill Rex or something like that. Like, are they willing to go there? Because like realistically, even Filoni himself thought that that Ahsoka was going to have to eventually come to and I feel like there's interviews where he says that Ahsoka is eventually going to have to come to her end by Vader, like early on, before the Disney buyout, before we knew what was going to happen with all these characters. And it makes sense narratively that, like, oh, he's one of the worst people ever. Imagine that he would have killed one of his Padawans. Like, that's mild compared to the rampant child slaughter that is super liminally implied in episode 3. Like, like he could have, like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like now we're at this point where as soon as a character is popular, like they have the moral high ground, right? So it's understandable that we're going to turn these guys into some sort of splinter faction that like breaks away from the Empire, because we already saw that with Rex in season 7. It's like they couldn't bring themselves to deal with the fact that Rex had a chip in his head and every single other clone fell victim to this phenomenon except him. That's unbelievable.
Like, but I think the thing too is that like we also have to look at the fact that like Rex is one of the most Rex and Ahsoka become one of the most two of the most popular characters in the franchise. And I don't think we can disregard that as like a Star Wars fandom like fact. Like I personally,
like, how do you feel
see,
about that though?
Okay, as somebody I think this was very early in the podcast days, like back in early 2017, so 4 years ago. Like I always defended that film, the 2008 film. Like I always I loved Captain Rex, I loved Ahsoka. I was always on board with the Clone Wars. Like the only time I really to this day, the only time I've been genuinely disheartened with Star Wars. I'm sorry, disheartened with Star Wars is The Force Awakens. Like I wouldn't want to see Ahsoka kill Rex. I was like that's where the ending of Clone Wars I liked, and I like how they got out of that situation with Ahsoka and Rex. We knew it was a fait accompli based on Rebels, but that was the thing, was that was a big question walking into 2008 was so how is this going to play out? We're just 3 years removed from Revenge of the Sith. What do you mean, Anakin had a Padawan? What do you mean by this? And we were all very cynical about it. And I think for the most part, considering that plot line wasn't resolved until 2020, 12 years later, I was satisfied with it. I'm one of the more cynical Star Wars fans out there.
Well, that's what kills me, though. It's I want to ask, I want to know what Lucas says about what happened to Ahsoka. You know what I mean? Like, is it better for the story? Because Lucas was so involved in Ahsoka. I heard an interview with some Hasbro guys who even said that Lucas was on the phone call working on the card back art for the vintage collection Ahsoka figure, and we're getting late and long in the tooth by that point, like 2012. Like, he's like, oh, she needs to look like powerful but an adult, not a kid, and like he's giving feedback on the image that was generated for that card back at that point. It's like, what does he think happened to her, right? And doesn't it feel right that at some point before Vader met his son that he finished her off? I feel like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Oh, okay. Let me clarify this for the audience. So you would have liked it if Vader killed Ahsoka.
That's kind of they like that when I say that they want to have their cake and eat it too. He did kill Ahsoka, but he also didn't because of Ezra.
Well, sure. Like the world between worlds is a giant wrench in all this, and we talked about that how many years ago? Like, the idea that Star Wars does time travel.
Did he kill? But did Vader kill Ahsoka prior to that Rebels episode?
I don't think so. Clearly not.
But
I think his goal. I think his intent was
that
to.
He saved her?
Of what? Rebels?
Isn't the whole point of that Rebels episode that Ezra saved her from being killed by him?
Well, yeah, because she's alive after Vader is dead. Right. But I think the thing is that Vader's intent was to kill her. Like, Vader, like if Ezra didn't step in, she would have died because Vader was going to destroy her.
But
like
so,
that,
but
I've seen
episode 1 of season 3. Episode 1 of season 3 is Ahsoka dead.
Episode 1 of season 3 of what? Mandalorian?
Rebels.
Episode 1 of season 3. No, she's just like she's TBD. The characters think she's dead. Not. Yes and no. The characters dead. What do you mean she's dead?
If Ezra saved her later on at the end of the series, she's dead at episode 1 of season 3.
No, she's alive.
She's alive.
Time travel rules. If you use time travel's established that you are always there to save somebody. No matter what happens, there is no origin point, and it is an infinite loop according to this set of time travel rules. She is alive in every perceivable narrative because she has to live.
Thank you,
why
Zenger. Thank you, Zenger.
I kind of hate
multiple reality things. Yes, there is a reality where she died the first time, but then is saved the second time. But due to the way this is, it is an infinite lock to where Ezra is always there to save her no matter what. Time travel is freaking dumb, and I hate having to explain it because it's so annoying.
Okay, that aside, though, I think the point being is that Vader's intent was to kill her. Because I know I saw an interview with Cowboy Hat Man, and he's like, we wanted to have Vader run in. Yes. He's like, I wanted Vader to interact with Ahsoka, but the thing is that, like, Ahsoka can't have an impact on him because that's Luke's job. Like, that is the thing. Like, at the end of the day, Ahsoka was his Padawan, but she was the groundwork for him having that sort of just, like, responsibility as a parent. And she lays groundwork, but at the end of the day, Vader has to destroy her.
That's the whole thing. Was he ever actually a bad guy? Like, show me something, right? Yeah.
Vader is a bad guy. He murders children off screen.
Right. So this is why you shouldn't have any trouble murdering Ahsoka when she's no longer a child.
But also Ahsoka became a fan favorite character. They're not going to cut off a revenue stream.
Which is completely irrelevant from a narrative point of view. That's
it's not. No. Because if you cut out the business aspect of this, you don't get a narrative sense. Remember, merchandise is what fuels the company.
I think Lucas was willing to.
Lucas was a madman that couldn't even pronounce the name of his characters right. Dooku, Gunga, Gungan. Like, if you don't know how to pronounce the names of the characters,
he couldn't pronounce the name of his characters right, but he was the final approval for the head shape of background aliens in the prequel.
I know, and it was great. It was delightful. Like, if you go back and look at some of those, like, like prequel trilogy behind the scenes documentary, and they're like, well, what color should like Yoda bleed? And he's like, I don't know, green. And like I love that. Like I love the fact that like most of these decisions were just arbitrary. Like I love that, and I miss that. I hate the fact that everything Disney now comes down to committees.
Yeah, I was having this. I was having this conversation like today with Rob from the Unbelievers podcast, and I was saying to him like so it comes down to what are you actually a fan of? Are you a fan of the author of this universe, or are you a fan of the logo? And you have to really sort of split between, like, for me it's not hard to say here's the era where Lucas was in charge of everything and he had say so on every single decision, down to the fact that the head shape of this background alien in the Outlander Club in episode 2, he's signing off on everything. It's not hard for me to say this. I can draw a circle around this whole era and it makes sense as one piece. And after that, we're sort of playing a game of how can we market best to the people who like that other stuff.
But that's the thing, though. I don't think Disney, and again, this is very, very far removed from the Bad Batch, but I think Disney's not concerned in selling Star Wars to us right now. Like, they're not. They're concerned about selling Star Wars to the people who were like 8 to 12 years old when The Force Awakens came out, who are slightly nostalgic for it now, and then getting a new generation hooked. I don't think they care about us. They know that they know they have our money.
Isn't that showing too much foresight though? Like, those people don't have spending dollars like in the next quarter.
But they will though. Like, think about it. There's like, okay, let me bring it back this way. Is that, like, think about it. Force Awakens came out almost 6 years ago. Those people who were like 12 when that movie came out are now 18. They are adults, legally speaking. They have jobs and income. That's who they're thinking about now. Remember, sure. Yeah, allegedly. They're not on unemployment collecting $700 a week. That's the thing, is that they're trying, like, it's interesting about it. There's a reason why that, like, if you look at all of Lucasfilm's projects right now, none of them are centered exclusively around original trilogy nonsense. Is because Lucasfilm finally has understood that these fans are aging out and don't have the spending dollars that the newer generations have. There's a reason why there's a lot more focus now on like prequel era content and sequel trilogy era content, and not everything's exclusively surrounding the original trilogy. Not saying
there's no sequel trilogy era content. I don't know what you're talking about in that regard, but the prequel stuff I get.
But what I mean though is that, like, when I mean like sequel trilogy stuff, I mean like they're still making that stuff somewhat available in the sense of like it's
let me
not
reiterate,
being completely disregarded. Like, there's still Rey stuff being merchandised.
I don't think we put strong enough emphasis on the fact that there is no Rey Happy Meal toy out of 10.
Because that's the inexplicable thing about those, because it's weird that McDonald's in today's, like, oh god, the culture war, they still have boys and girls stuff. Like, I have no idea how there's not a boycott right now against McDonald's based on that. It's because of reality. Yeah, where you said because I don't personally agree with that, it's because of reality. Sure, whatever. I don't care. I think the Moana toy, I think the Disney princess toys are infinitely cooler than the Star Wars ones. Like, I would rather have them.
Listen, I saw people clamoring for those things. They're like, "Oh man, McDonald's said that they're going to phase out physical like plastic Happy Meal toys in a couple years." And they're like, "You better get these Star Wars toys because they're the last I'll ever have." Like, did you ever think you were going to get more McDonald's Happy Meal toys? I didn't. And not only that, but like, these remind me of those stupid Burger King. Were they Burger King? There was another fast food place that did big heads on top of ships. Like, I've never seen anything I dislike more.
I remember. I don't like it either. I think it's. Yeah, I think it's very tacky.
Oh, it's awful, and it's like so you're gonna drum up hype for this thing, and it's like they have no, like, I mean, obviously, if they would have done a Rey, it would have looked terrible. Like, even the Luke is like, he's got his X-wing helmet on. They at least understand that a plain human head except with the exception of Finn, is the least interesting thing they can do with a toy where they're not going to do sophisticated paint application. But
Sure.
yeah, but
let me ask.
There's no risk.
Let me ask you a question though, Chris. Why is it that instead of doing random male Star Wars characters, heads awkwardly placed on Star Wars ships, why not do a Bad Batch wave? Why not do something tied to the Bad Batch? Wouldn't that make perfect sense considering the show debuts like 3 weeks?
I think there's a difference between Happy Meal toys and like the general Hasbro market, because the general Hasbro market is old men like us, and the Happy Meal toys maybe they're still aiming at actual kids.
But that's the thing though. Like, wouldn't you want to promote this to children? Like, isn't that the whole point? Isn't the Bad Batch show designed to appeal? It's at the end of the day, it's children's animation.
You're saying that, but it's directly connected to a show that premiered in 2008. So, like, is it though?
Yes. It's animated.
It's so close.
And it's on Disney Plus.
So close to that show that it looks like they just poured it over the animation. Like, it doesn't look like they designed it. Like, I didn't do a close comparison.
It's based on the season 7 like updated version that they were using.
Right, but that's not like super updated. Like, it looks closer to the original Clone Wars than it does to Rebels.
If you go back, like, when was the last time you watched those Bad Batch episodes of Clone Wars?
I mean, if I'm being honest, the premiere, but I've watched Rebels more recently, and I know Rebels doesn't look like that.
Go and watch the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, and the money is on the screen. The money is there.
Well,
I think it holds up. I think it's visually consistent and it's updated.
Yeah, those last 4 episodes are a completely different animal than the first 8. Like, they're not. They're like the last 4 episodes are like the real season 7 that Disney wanted to do.
Sure, but getting back to the Bad Batch though, like I really want to focus on this because and this is the question though, is that what is the goal of this series from Disney's perspective? Is it just filler, or is there something they're trying to get at?
Establishing other series and establishing content and linking everything together, because I'm really trying to figure out something right now.
I like how Zenger just sighs. He's just like,
no, I am doing every aspect of digging I can to figure out something, and I am coming up empty.
Hold on. So let's appreciate that Zenger is most likely searching Wikipedia right now.
I have 2 Wikipedia entries open right now, and I'm trying to cross-reference them, and it is not working.
I love Wikipedia so much. Like, there's like a data bank thing that's like an official. There's like an official Wikipedia that just has like the fake answers to everything on it. And then there's like the real Wikipedia where you can actually pick between like legends or canon. Yeah, I'm so glad they did that.
I'm working in canon. I'm trying to get answers to questions I'm asking myself so that I can sound intelligent when I speak later.
The great thing about the Legends tab is like when people like me think, am I crazy or did that actually happen? They can click that and be reaffirmed.
Yes. Okay, now I gotta cross-reference this. God dang.
Oh, Zenger, you jokester, you.
All right. It's nothing. Okay. When did Thrawn join the Empire? I am just trying to figure that out. Okay?
Sometime between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. It doesn't matter.
No, it does, because I'm like, is he going to make an appearance in this as like some background, like, young upstart cadet?
Maybe.
Wasn't there a whole book of him dealing with Anakin during the Clone Wars?
Okay.
Alliances?
Yes. The second book deals with him dealing with Anakin at the same time he's dealing with
So
Vader.
therefore he never joined the Empire. He was already part of it prior to it becoming the Empire.
Yeah, they just ran into each other and had a dumbass adventure. Sorry for the
Chris,
company.
have you ever read any of the Disney era? Have you ever read any of the Disney era Thrawn books?
God, they're good. Don't read the second one.
Are they? Like,
Yeah.
so I've it's an embarrassing confession to make, but like the
Oh
only
my
Thrawn
God.
books I've read, are the original Thrawn books.
Which I still haven't.
And even
That's
then,
well,
it was like I was a kid, so like I kind of know what happened.
Sure. I'm just curious is all. Nothing more. There's nothing leading about that.
Yeah, well,
no.
I mean, but
that's the thing, though.
is
But,
Timothy's on what he used to be? I don't know. Like, is he a slave to the machine at this point? I don't know. I would like to believe they're still good.
But no, but like the point being is that like clearly by that name drop in Mandalorian episode with Ahsoka, like they have plans for him, but once again, they didn't capitalize on the hype. Like, but this is my question though, Chris, because you're the I think you know more than anybody how important like merchandising drives the ship. Like not as much as it did back in like the early 2000s, but how much
I don't have 8 space helmets, to be fair.
Sure, but you.
I'm not there yet.
Oh my god. Because you don't have 8 children yet, Zenger. Once you have 8 children, then you'll have 8 space helmets. But this is the thing though, is that if you look at like how merchandise did drive the ship and how it kind of still does, it's that idea that like you can look at that stuff almost like kind of like reading the tea leaves as a way of like where things go. And like that's the weird thing right now is that like it's kind of like I just don't know where they're going with things right now. Like think about it, like we have a brand new Star Wars property debuting in less than a week. And like, sure, you have some, like we talked about it off mic though, but like you have some figures awkwardly showing up in stores right now. But like when you look at the Bad Batch, like you have what? Sylvester Stallone Bad Batch coming out. You have Sniper Bad Batch coming out. Then you have to wait until like August for Hulk Bad Batch. And then for like Tech Bad Batch, which is actually his name, doesn't come out until like I think sometime in the fall. Yeah.
Well, isn't this amazing compared to like the Mandalorian rollout? Because like some of these are actually out before the show starts.
Yes, but like at the same time, though, like these aren't the outfits they're going to be wearing in the show. Like if you look at that trailer, a lot of what they basically take off their Republic armor.
Okay, I also watched both trailers today and didn't notice that, but maybe that's just me. But I mean, so you're saying the Black Series figures are based on Clone Wars Season 7?
Yes. Because that's what I was telling you about the Elite Squad, like clone trooper, is that like, spoiler alert, skip ahead 5 minutes if you don't want to hear this, that Crosshair becomes the leader of the squad that is like sent to like hunt them down.
Yay!
And he's in the trailer.
Man, imagine
in
if
that
this
armor
series, like, imagine if he actually catches any of them, and this series deals with like the reality of like mortality and death, and like directs it towards children. I'll be so impressed.
Sure. But let me ask this question. Like, think of like these are kind of stupid Star Wars fan questions, but like, are we gonna see like a fallout to like the Commander Cody, Captain Rex like friendship? Because like we know Captain Rex is in this show.
Commander Cody is the most overrated clone of all time, in my opinion. Like, okay, he's in the movie for like 2 seconds. He hands Obi-Wan's lightsaber back to him,
and then makes a fatal error after that. What does he try to do? Take on Kenobi when Kenobi has what? What does Kenobi have in that moment? Anybody?
Maybe I'm forgetting a scene.
He has the high ground. You can't defeat Kenobi if he has the high ground.
So, like, I'm ready to embarrass myself. Are you saying that Kenobi actually kills Cody on screen?
No. He has the high ground, and they try to take him out with him having the high ground. It's impossible.
But he immediately has the low ground, but neither of them are dead.
But he didn't kill him.
Yeah. That's one of those I feel like there's like a deleted scene there that we never got. Like there's some alien that like attacks Kenobi underwater that like was one of the deleted scenes that we have never seen. It's part of that mystery of the completely alternate
3-4 hour Revenge of the Sith.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no, see,
like, I have a book that has a picture of this underwater alien that assaults Obi-Wan while he's down there.
On
And it's
Utapau?
just like, yeah, and it's like there's a picture of this alien.
I've
that's
never
like,
heard of this.
it's like-
never
oh,
heard
I'll
of it.
send you
I
it.
actually
I'll send
have,
you it.
Zach.
It's like a next gen Dinoga.
Yeah, that
See,
sounds
I
about
have
right.
heard of this because
That
while
sounds
he's-
about right.
While he's underwater, he gets attacked, of course, by, something, and it kills, what's her name again? God dang, I just forgot her name. The one chick that, like, dies 15 times in that movie.
B. Arthur.
No. Other one.
Padamame.
The Rhodian.
Shakti.
Yeah, Shakti's actually
Oh,
underwater
yeah.
there, too, and she gets killed.
So okay. So, like, do either of you know which Shakti death is the canonical Disney era death?
There is none. There isn't none. There is not.
She gets killed
The only canonical death of Shakti is that in Clone Wars: The Lost Missions, like low key, like season 6, Yoda, when he's like having like his like visions, like as he's like feeling the Force, he sees her like in a vision dying. And Pablo Hidalgo has said like that is kind of like not verbatim what happens, but like it's assumed she dies during the purge.
No, see, she
Oh.
gets killed by Grievous in front of Kenobi. And
You mean-
that's a
Anakin.
that's a deleted
no,
scene.
wait. Hold on a second.
That's a
She
deleted
gets
scene.
killed by Starkiller in the
Yeah.
Oh no,
that's what I'm
wait a
saying.
second.
Stop it.
She gets killed by Anakin.
Stop it. Stop
listen,
She
it.
is the most
Listen.
killed person.
I know.
Yeah, but like you're telling me she doesn't end up becoming sexy Shakti who gets killed by Starkiller, and even Lucas himself was like, "This is canon." Like they were like that. The videos for that promoting that game were like, Lucas says this is exactly what happened between episodes 3 and 4. Like this is verbatim the Bible of what happened between episodes 3 and 4. Never mind that.
He also created the rebels. But wasn't the rebellion also created by my brain?
Yeah. That was a great.
I've lost
that was a
folks.
great
If you're
video.
lost too, I am just as lost as you because I have no idea what sort of tangent they're on right now.
You never played.
Okay.
You never played the first Force Unleashed, huh?
I did
Actually-
play the first Force Unleashed. I feel like you guys are just kind of pinballing all over the place right now.
I'm just making a joke that Shakti's the most dead person in Star Wars history. She has been killed so
know.
many times in so many ways. But the point is this. May the 4th, we are getting a 70-minute episode of this
Yes,
thing.
it's the
I am
pilot.
predicting. I am
this thing. I like
predicting.
that. We should call all Star Wars projects this thing going forward. I think that should
Have
be
you-
the new rule. All Star Wars
Okay.
things are called this thing.
I fully support your sentiment, but like, can we all take just a moment to appreciate the fact that Zenger is the one who put us on topic for a second there? Like savor
Yes.
that moment.
I know. Like I
Yes,
am.
let's derail so Zenger can get us back on topic. So this series, this thing that is coming out will be an 70-minute episode. Second episode will come out a week later. There will be a weekly release for 14 weeks. 14 episodes of the first season. There is
Cool.
so much garbage that can happen during that time and so much stuff that can make me angry. And if it's an A-team thing, I guarantee you that first 70 minutes, Tarkin's like, get him out of here. I don't need this crap. And then in the background, there's some blue-faced guys going, perhaps. And I
All
go,
right.
yay!
Wonderful. So on the subject of these of what we know about the bad, so
Like how
So what
Chris
we
has
know about
truly
the Bad
reached like peak Zack level of like just like Zenger goes off on like a minute-long diatribe and just like, yeah, great, moving on. And
no,
like,
but no.
I like
but
how
the
Chris
weird
has
thing
truly
is,
become my surrogate.
I am
completely
on
in line.
topic. I am on
he's
target.
topic. So for the rest of you who've clearly watched both Bad Batch trailers right before this discussion, which is if it's not obvious to you guys based on
I
the
am
hour
watching
of like
on
completely
Proof in the
unrelated
background.
content. Okay, so wonderful. So the thing I'm wondering about the most out of anything, and this shows what a degenerate expanded universe Star Wars fan I am compared to like somebody who's actually paying attention to the plot at hand. But like, so this kid that was so divisive with that second trailer. I mean, it's still a good second trailer besides the kid. But like, so what's interesting to me is that like, is the Empire still making clones like this late in the game? Like, because that's a new clone, right? That kid. So it's like if they're doing one, they're doing 1,000. Yeah.
It's possible. So if they're doing like,
why don't she's a genetic like people?
Well, she's a genetic defect. Well, she's a genetic defect. That's the whole reason why she joined.
Right. But she was still made yesterday, which means that they're still making clones.
Well, she made that soon?
If they have advanced aging, yes. Even if they don't have advanced aging, she's a kid.
Well, she's 10 years old, which means she's probably about 5. Like as in physical years.
Yeah.
From what I remember in Attack of the Clones, it takes half the amount of time.
Hold on a second. Another thing. I thought Tarkin was like put off to like some random part of the Outer Rim for a while. Isn't that what that boring book's about?
That takes place long after this.
Oh, okay. So he's being interesting right now. Got it. But yes, wait a second. Why are they already scrapping the crappy class Star Destroyers?
Because Empire.
I'm very confused on a lot of things. If I don't get a blue-faced person in this, I'm going to be angry. And I'm not talking about that one bounty hunter that I hate.
Can we please talk about the fact that we haven't got like a Star Wars like Jedi Fallen Order sequel announced yet? Because like that's the thing I'm really jonesing for.
No,
I want more Cal Calrissian.
I'm excited for Cal Calrissian to take on Starkiller, because why not make him the villain? Why not make him canon? Not superpowered version, but just make him canon. Make him exist.
Okay, we're not getting into that right now. We're not getting into that.
It's a whole separate.
But you know, Starkiller has been in the news lately because he was part of a Vintage Collection fan vote, which is already over at this point. They didn't announce the winner yet, but I think the voting is done. But you know, it was good seeing him up there. And the Jedi Fallen Order was
make him canon.
Jedi Fallen Order was really good in my opinion, but I don't know what percentage of me is sort of blown away by the fact that it's the first game even close to what I remember in 10 years, or whether it's actually good. You know what I mean? Like, they just haven't, like, EA had the license. They haven't really been trying. Battlefront is not a sort of narratively focused game. So, like, I feel like I've been so starved that maybe I inflate how good Fallen Order actually is.
Fallen Order at least tries to do something different. It tries and it succeeds. It's a very, like, even, like, this is the thing I think is interesting. It's like, I think I mentioned this like when we talked about this was, I think, Mandalorian like discussions last year. Like, there was that lightsaber collection book, and if you look in that book, like, there's like a fair amount of like Fallen Order stuff in there. Like, you have obviously Cal Calrissian. You even have the bad guy of that, like one of the bad guys of that game. I forget what his name is. Oh God, Taron Malicos. Like, even he is like referenced in that book. Like, the fact that like Galaxy's Edge is like making the Cal Calrissian lightsaber, I think like lends credence
as a baseball bat in minor league games.
It can. I think it's that like it's going to be like I think Cal Kestis is one of like another like he was just kind of like swallowed in the hype of like late 2019 Star Wars between like Baby Yoda, Rise of Skywalker. And that was just like, unfortunately, like the tip of the iceberg. I do think we will get more of that character. I'm just afraid that, like, considering how well that game was received and sold, that Lucasfilm just be like, okay, like originally they left Respawn alone to do whatever they wanted. I think now they're going to be like much more hands-on. I don't know. That's my own conjecture, but like, I don't know. I remember we were talking about that like Mandalorian season 8. Or season 2, episode 8. Well, I don't think it's contracts. I think everybody's signed. I think it's just I think Lucasfilm just like it's up to them to whether they give something a long leash or a short leash. And I'm afraid like anything else that's like the more popular something becomes, they're gonna feel they have to stick their fingers in the pie more and more. But like no, like I agree.
Well,
like, we talk. I still think that Jedi Fallen Order is the best Star Wars story of the Disney era.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Exactly. Fallen Order is incredible.
Yeah, I mean,
On
if
a
you're
story
gonna say
level.
if you're going to say best Star Wars story of the Disney era, if that's literally how you're going to define it, I would, like, as I know how this makes me sound, but I would still say Rogue One is better.
No, because Fallen Order at least tries to at least expand things. Like, Rogue One plays in a very specific sandbox. Fallen Order at least introduces new concepts and ideas. Like, it is like you're taking
but there's no finality.
The hero's journey, and you're turning on its head.
There's no finality to it, though. Like, even when Seer gets thrown into that pit, it's like when Palpatine tosses Ben Solo into that pit. It's like, can you give me a break, please? Like, can somebody be dead when a Sith Lord tosses them into a pit? Please.
Okay, fair. That's fair, and I agree with you. But, like, as I was playing that game, and especially that last level, which I love, like, so much, where, like, you have, like, the second sister, and, like, you have those moments between, like, Trilla and Seer, and it's like she kind of, like, comes back to the light, and then Vader just kind of shows up, and it's like, oh God, like this is like, but this is where I think Disney doesn't understand Star Wars, or at least current Lucasfilm like management, because like Vader only shows up when things are completely off the rails. Like, he only shows up when, like, okay, I have to personally get things back on track. He shows up and he's like, you failed the Inquisitor. He kills Trilla. Like, I agree with you. Seer should die at that moment. Like, he should be that powerful where she comes charging at him and he literally just waves his hand.
You know what I mean? Gone. It's like, you remember when Qui-Gon died, even though he was played by Liam Neeson? He might have been a popular character. Remember that?
Sure, that's fair. Like, I agree with you, but, like, unfortunately, that's not the world we live in right now. BD-1's the greatest Star Wars droid ever. I love BD-1. Grant. Disney, make more BD-1 merchandise. Like, it's actually funny we talk about Fallen Order right now. I actually found this on Poshmark. I have a Jedi Fallen Order, like, respawn development, like, team T-shirt.
Oh, wow, you really do see him. You really do see him in the Imperial armor. Why is that a shock to anybody?
What?
Sorry, I'm watching one of the trailers at like 1:40.
Is Zenger Chris, is Zenger getting us back on topic 2 times in one recording?
No.
Well,
this is shocking. I don't like this. This is very unsettling.
He did pre-establish that he's walking and watching the trailer on loop.
Now I'm watching it at slower speeds.
Oh my God.
If there's anything I'm missing. Well, no, I mean this is prediction stuff, and I love the I told you so moments I get later.
Yeah.
And then ignoring anytime I'm wrong.
I am excited to see. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask Zenger. Zenger, what do you expect? Like, what do you expect and what do you want from the Bad Batch?
What do I want? A good Star Wars story that's not played out, boring, and incestuous into itself. If I hear one Skywalker name being said, I'm going to get angry.
You know you will. If
I
Rex
know
is
I
in there,
will.
that name will be. And Matt Lanter even said that like Anakin Skywalker animation is going to show up sooner rather than later.
No, I mean it's like
how long can they pad out a 3-year period? Like, my God.
Long time. I you know what? I think they can pad out about 3 years. No, what I want from this is a good Star Wars story. I like the Clone Wars. I've grown to love it in the sense of it's something. It's not the perfection that was the 2003 series. I mean, I'm tired of hearing about all these clones and their emotions, and now all these different looking clones and their different emotions. Like, it's just too much, but I want to see where this goes. It's something new. It's something cool. I can't wait to see what wolves are in this. What do I expect from this?
Is Filoni in charge of this?
I have you know what? I just assume Star Wars stuff just has wolves in it now. If it is not a main movie, it's going to have a wolf in it. So, what do I expect from this? money grabbing BS that I'm just gonna sit there, eat up like an idiot, and be like, they're just good every week when Zack forces me to do these episodes.
You damn straight. We're getting back into it, folks. If we get a new episode every week, we'll be doing an episode.
A blue-faced alien knight can be like, oh boy, he's in there. And then he goes, perhaps. And I'm like, yay, he said it.
He said the thing.
He said the thing. And then actually, you know what my final thing I want from this is? Can anyone guess? Of course, simply enough, a Bad Batch helmet by the Black Series. I want a Black Series helmet. Which one? God. I don't know. I'll take a look.
Don't give them ideas.
You know in a second.
Yeah, the problem with that, Zenger, is that would be a new mold, not like the Captain Cardinal helmet.
Quiet, you.
Fair. He's right, Zenger. Like, do you want Sylvester Stallone helmet? Do you want Hulk helmet?
I'm trying to figure out which one I want. I'm gonna look at all of them and figure it out.
Is that what you're gonna do?
I was giving you guys a chance to talk about something other than me just yelling.
I don't know, but this is the thing about the Bad Batch is that like I don't know what I want from this series.
I don't want Hulk.
Is it like I want to see what the clones are up to post Order 66. I don't want to see them be like, oh god, because like we know, like based on the trailer that like Hunter, Sylvester Stallone clone, Order 6. Oh god,
that
Bad
helmet
Batch clone.
That's the one I want, by the way.
Of course it is. It's the one we all want because it's a commando helmet.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like we see him on Camino during Palpatine's. The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
Everyone cheers.
Exactly, and it's like where, like, so is he not directly involved in the Order 66? So I don't know. Like it would be really fun to see like clones involved with that. Maybe I'm wrong. I would hope that like pilot episode is them like being assigned to kill Jedi, and maybe they kill Shakti again. Who knows?
Yes.
Maybe we see Shakti die again in Star Wars.
God, I hope so now.
Timeline.
That'd be a little self-aware.
I would love that. Like, I would love that if they did that. If they had Shakti die again in canon.
Every episode, Shakti dies.
And definitely no Shaggy this time.
It's
no. Make him canon and kill him.
I don't know. Like I said, I just don't want boilerplate Star Wars, which is why I feel it kind of falls into the trap of when they don't know what they're doing. It just becomes like, okay, like this is fine. Kind of like episode 2 of season 2 of The Mandalorian, where it's just like him like with the lizard lady and like the giant spider creatures. And I'm like, this is fine, but like I'm never going to rewatch this again.
Oh yeah, that episode never.
It's boring. Like it's just like it's just there.
Oh yeah.
Worst
of course
X-Wing pilots ever.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Anything else about the Bad Batch? Or are we ready to wrap this up?
All I'm interested in seeing is like what excites me about it is the early stages of the Empire when they have like these crappy outposts where they have like maybe get one I-class Star Destroyer, like nothing crazy, a few stormtroopers, like it's kind of like they have the kind of like their limited resources with which they bullied Mos Eisley in A New Hope, or like the mining facility spotlighted in Splinter of the Mind's Eye, just like crappy basic ANH era Imperial outposts getting assaulted. That's what I like.
All right, Zinger, anything else you want to add to this?
I'd like to say I think everything we're seeing is from that 70-minute episode, and we haven't seen anything past that.
I hope.
Like all of these trailers and everything are like just from that. Also, do I care that there's going to be a excitable kid on the journey? Indifferent to say the least.
For now.
Perhaps. Alrighty. Oh God. Like I said, I don't know what I want from this. Like that's the thing.
I'm more excited.
As weird as it sounds, I kind of miss the days of like the full like oh God, the full court blitz of like marketing. We used to get back in the day where we got like a little bit of everything, whether it be like video games. Like don't get me wrong, like I hated the shotgun approach, but I just want a little bit more just like hype surrounding it. I would just be like, oh, like this is another just like entertainment dump on like an internet TV service.
But Zach, they just re-released the original Bad Batch, the Republic Commandos on PlayStation.
That's like I love that game. And like that's the thing too, is that like where's Delta Squad? Like I would love to see an episode where like Delta Squad and it's just what Boss, Scorch, and Fixer going after the Bad Batch. Like I would love to see that. Like even Omega Squad, I would love to see that. Like the black and white commandos. Like we know Delta Squad is canon. Like have them sent after them, like in like Imperial colors. I would love to see that. Just do it. Like
I agree. It would be cool to see some of these other things that we know exist. Just show them during the Imperial time, and don't have them cowardly just be like, "Oh, I don't like what they're doing. We're gonna go to the. We're gonna."
Let's
leave.
talk about our feelings. Let's talk about our feelings for half an hour.
I would prefer that over anything else. If they just all decide to talk about their feelings instead of deserting to go to the filthy rebels instead of staying with the Empire.
What Zenger is trying to say is that give us some Captain Fordo from the Clone Wars.
Well, you know that
yeah
isn't the as what it's now known as in the post-Disney era known as the 2D micro series of the Clone Wars.
Yes.
Isn't that the first time where Star Wars wasn't just people talking about their feelings?
No, it was people showing their feelings.
With clone blasters, yeah.
God,
and lightsabers that sizzle in the rain.
Yes.
Luke talked a whole lot about his feelings in the original trilogy. Just saying.
In sand.
So much.
That's a different character.
Can we please talk about? Okay. Oh God. Can we please talk about how like in 2006 Hasbro released a like figure pack, like battle pack called The Hunt for Grievous. It was based off the 2003 micro series. It has a Captain Fordo figure, but it doesn't have like the rangefinder on the helmet. Like that's driven me nuts.
That's pretty tragic. But and like I've been looking at that stuff recently because like as some of you in the Knights of Vader Facebook group might know, I've recently picked up a Republic gunship for the first time, and I opened this sealed box that was 18 years old, and I like fully appreciated how great these Hasbro Republic gunships were back in the day. And
you got weirdest one. You got like the Clone Wars one from like 2003. Like that's like one of like beyond the Revenge of the Sith one, which was like green. That's like the weirdest. Like the second weirdest one.
That was the two choices I had. There were Sith one or that, and I picked that one.
That's a weird. I there was no winning that because both of them were like peculiar. But like, man, you got like an odd one. Like the best. But I mean,
but they're all essentially the same, right?
One.
Yeah, it has the sphere guns on the side, but they don't really fit scale wise, anyways. And
that's what I mean, though. Like the 2000, I think it's like what 2012 one is like ideally the best one between like just the packages,
but I mean the core
features.
Body is the same on all of them, right?
No, because I know for the Clone War series one with the little like oh god lizard monkey on the side of it like dropping the bombs, that I'm pretty sure that was a tweaked mold. It was tweaked because it does. I got one before. So one you got one based off the 2002 mold. Right. No, I don't know if it got better. It's different because like I have two gunships. I have the 2002 Saga Collection one, and I have the 2003 Micro Series one with like the face paint like artwork. Like,
so you're saying you have like so when you say 2002 Saga Collection, like that's the Attack of the Clones one, basically. Yes,
the one with like the one with like Yoda and Mace Windu, like during the Battle of Geonosis. The very first one
that ever came out. Yeah.
Yeah, because the LAAT is like my favorite, like like at the time it was like my favorite Star Wars ship ever. And I remember when that, like, I can still remember the moment when my mother bought me that, like in 2002. It was like one of the happiest moments of my life because like she surprised me with that, and I had no idea she even knew I liked that. And then I remember like getting the 2003 Micro Series one and having to like look for that. And then like it was one of the very few. Then like the figures that I've used to populate that with over time, I actually had to go to eBay to buy because like my Toys R Us never had that like battle pack in stock. No, those ships like again like I know, like right now, like going back to what I was saying earlier about like I'm gonna have to sell a bunch of stuff off of my collection just like this year. Like I know both of those gunships, like I am not getting rid of because like I just love them so much. Because like you are never going to get that sort of craftsmanship again unless it's like a HasLab exclusive.
So yeah, I have one. According to you, I have perhaps one of the worst ones. But there's
no.
But there's like how many variants?
There's
only
how many
gunships?
Sure,
10? 12?
No. There's not that many. Like, okay, this is the thing about them. This is really weird. Like getting into the weeds of like Star Wars Hasbro modern collecting. I'm pretty sure there's only 3 variants. There's the 2002 mold. There's I want to say like 2009, 10 mold, and then there's I could be wrong about this. Then there's like the 2011, 12 mold, which was like the vintage collection one. I gotta go to Rebel Scum right now and like verify all this. Deep Cut Rebel Scum, my OG like collecting website, because their photo archive is incredible. For what it was back in the day. No, like you have one of the better molds. It just has a really ugly paint scheme.
It's just got some black on it, really. Like it's not a whole lot going on.
It's ugly. Don't believe him, folks. It's very ugly. It's not even called a Republic gunship. It's called a Command gunship.
Yeah.
No, the Revenge of the Sith one's like green, and that's weird. Like it's. I remember when that. I remember seeing that in like Toys R Us in like 2005, and even I skipped over that, and I'm like, this is ugly, and it's just like no, like why is it green? It makes no sense.
It was more expensive than this one, so like that's weird also.
Because it was based off a movie line, not like a sci-fi.
I guess so. Yeah. All right. Well, this is like proto micro series Clone Wars, like when the figures looks realistic still.
Yeah. No, like I said, no, you picked the right thing. Okay, it wasn't in the Legacy collection. I'm trying to figure out what it would be under. Vehicles, blah blah blah. This is like the weirdest, like deep cut.
Yeah, well, the vintage collection one's the last one to come out, right?
Republic Attack Shuttle. Yeah, vintage. Yeah, it's the last modern redo. Okay, there it is. No, the one that was released in 2000. When was this released? 2009. It was a Toys R Us exclusive, at least in the U.S. It was a Clone Wars era one, and it is slightly different. It is like, because like what happens like on the one from the 2002 mold, the doors don't completely shut on it. It like, as you can see, it leaves like maybe 2-3 inches of space. The 2009 one, the doors completely shut, and like the part where like people like can stand up front, that also shuts. It's slightly different
because that kind of bothered me because like the doors
mold
barely
is slightly
open.
Different.
Yeah.
I could no, this one here. Yeah, I'll send you the link on Facebook so you can like compare notes. That was the 2009 one. I've got to now look into the vintage collection one. I don't know what that. Oh God, it's gonna be a nightmare to find that on the. It's amazing. The Rebel Scum website.
If you have good enough headphones right now, you can probably hear how interested Zenger is in all of this.
I mean,
this is what Star Wars collecting is. It's 3 3/4 figures or get the F out. All right, I sent it to you on Facebook. There's this thing called
Legos. I mean, whatever.
No, Legos are dumb compared to Hasbro.
Well, was there one Lego Republic gunship like 10 years ago?
Yeah, and it's out of print, and it's expensive, and people want it. By the way, I got to see the Star Destroyer in person, like a fully built one in person, and after making sweet eye love to it, Ellie had to pull me away from it.
Well, at least she stopped you before you put out a carpet and started praying to it.
I mean, I came close.
I love that.
That thing is huge.
I love that. Oh, also, like real quick, like not to derail this conversation any further than we're currently at.
God dang it! Do I have to re-rail it afterwards?
Maybe. Like, okay. This is a weird tangent, but like I think I don't know if I ever talked about this on the podcast, but like I am a slave to like my nostalgia of yesteryear. I think everybody knows that like if you listen to Cinemoddities, I've definitely talked about this. Like I grew up in Florida, and like my ideal time frame of existence was like early 2002 to early 2004. And one thing I've always craved for the last like almost 20 years was Pepsi Blue. If anybody remembers that soda.
I remember Pepsi Blue.
I love Pepsi Blue. And for the last 20 years, every single time I walk into like a grocery store, gas station, I see a blue soda, I get I get excited. I'm like, oh man, like, did they bring it back? And I've been disappointed every single time for 20 years. Except a couple days ago, I walked into a grocery store on my way home from work, and I found out they had Pepsi Blue. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not kidding. I literally cleared the entire case out, and I bought like a dozen bottles of it. And then I found out they're re-releasing Pepsi Blue for this summer. But you're probably wondering, Zach, why are you talking about a soft drink on a Star Wars podcast? Well, let me tell you, Fred, because this drink is what I exclusively drank in the summer of 2002 when Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones came out. So at some point next month, May 2021, there will be a Cinemoddities recording, or let me rephrase that. A Knights of Vader recording done under the guise of a Cinemoddities recording where we talk about Star Wars episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and the featured snack will be Pepsi Blue. That will happen at some point.
Okay. That is wonderful. And I mean, we're still veering off here. And I know we're sort of wrapping up. I just want to say a couple things. I can't let that sort of prequel trilogy Pepsi moment pass by without saying that I'm the recent owner of the episode 1 vending machine insert for episode 1. And
do you have one of those now?
I have
do you
nowhere
really
to
have
put
one
it.
of those?
I honestly have one. It's in storage. I have nowhere to put it, but I do have one. And my ultimate goal is to sell it to perhaps a hotel that has a Pepsi machine that will fit it, and only under the condition that they'll put it in. That's where I'm going with this. But so I did recently get one of those in the last 2 months. It's glorious. I don't know what to do with it, but it came up locally at a price that it was a deal I couldn't refuse. Let's put it that way.
Chris, what was that time you came to visit me in New York? You gave me like an option of 3. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Didn't you have the option of buying like an Attack of the Clones like promo like display for something? And you're like, should I do this?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so check it out. That actually came up recently. So what that was an Attack of the Clones press screening premiere ticket.
No, this is something different. This is like a promo thing for like a display in the store. This is months ago.
Of the stuff I had with me that day?
No, not that day. Not that day. I got my stories confused.
Okay, well,
this is in the Facebook group. You were like, you had some sort of like promo thing for like Toys R Us or Target for Attack of the Clones, or maybe even Walmart.
Well, I know I definitely posted this press screening ticket in the Facebook group, so I feel like that's what you're conflating here. But that's coming my way eventually because I've collected the appropriate trade items to get that from the guy who has it.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, it's funny how like the Attack of the Clones promo stuff is infinitely more valuable now because there was so little of it in 2002.
Oh,
because like everybody was so burnt out on Phantom Menace.
You're thinking of the massive Doritos store display, which I also have.
Yes. I want that. That's the thing that like I feel like at some point like you and I are gonna meet up and be like, Chris, like how do I buy that from you?
You don't understand.
Without,
you don't understand. Like,
check.
Listen, here's where we are at that point. So since I've collected that and posted it in the Facebook group, I've moved to a smaller place, and I can't get rid of it. So like, we can work something out.
Like, you know, my problem is, Chris, like, I'm afraid of is like what I'm doing now as a Star Wars fan, like in their like late 20s, almost early 30s. I'm buying random things. Like, I have like certain things that like I don't know what to do with. Like, do you remember the fur real Chewbacca they made for Solo? Where like you could, like, cradle him and he'll fall asleep. I found that like at a GameStop, like on clearance for like $20. I was like, how do I not buy this? Well, I'm like, if I don't buy this, like I will hate myself for like eternity.
It's like those Sphero stuff. Like they've lost the license.
Oh, yeah.
They've lost the license, but like let me tell you, like if any of you listening get the chance to pick up the Sphero R2D2, that thing is amazing. Like, don't sleep on it. The app is still available. They've lost the license. That app's going to disappear at some day. Like, that thing is like a fully animated with lights and sounds R2D2 that like is super accurate to what you see on screen. And they've lost the license. So they did. You know, get it while you can because the app's still up there right now.
The problem with that, you know what the problem with the R2D2 was that like that was like after they burned out like their fan base with like the BB-8 and like all the accessories, and they did like BB-9.
Yeah, no one noticed.
This sucks. And everyone
no one
gave up
noticed
on
that they
them.
did a way better job with the Astromechs than they did with the BB units. Like it's a shame.
Like I still have like my BB-8 I got from Barnes and Noble on Forest Friday in 2015, like on my desk. I am literally holding it right now.
Yeah, I have that.
But, like,
I have that and the R2, but they did a way better job with the R2s.
Well, yeah. Whatever. They should have done a BD1.
Of course.
I love BD1.
But sorry. So like you were trying to wrap up, and I just want to.
I was unsuccessfully.
Before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that if you feel like you don't get, and this is somebody who's like, I'm not that much of a shill. I've only been on it a couple times, but if you feel like you don't get enough Knights of Vader, really do check out Cinemoddities, because they do, despite Rob's best wishes, they do end up talking about Star Wars stuff like 90% of the time for at least 5 minutes. So like you should
There's
probably
a lot
check.
of Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. What's going? Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Zenger, anything else you have to add to this conversation, or are you spent?
I got two things to add. One, I'm impressed that you're able to post on Facebook during this record, Zach. Thank you for doing that. I'm glad.
Can you please tell the audience what I posted, what meme picture, and what it is?
No, I was talking about you changed your personal page, his background, to a picture of Thomas the Tank Engine bricked up in a tunnel.
No, okay, two things. A, I'm really impressed you said Thomas the Tank Engine and not Thomas the Train. 10 like applause points to you for that. And two, it's not Thomas in that picture, it's Henry. When they put Henry
I don't know the difference. I love that picture. For bad or good?
You get the applause for the fact that you said Thomas the Tank Engine, because that's what it's called at that point, and it didn't become Thomas and Friends until like the 2000s.
Oh, because I only watched those
points because. But like you lose points because you said it was Thomas and not Henry. And it's Henry in the tunnel.
Yes. And you also post on Knights of Vader picture of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Jar Jar. Do you hear that? That's the sound of 1 million unsold. Yeah, figures. Yeah.
Constable Zuvio. Chris, are we okay? This is the $1 million question I have to ask both of you, Chris and Zenger. When are we gonna actually get Constable Zuvio in a Star Wars property where he has like dialogue? Like I want. You don't remember Constable Zuvio? Like the biggest controversy since Rick Oley in the Star Wars fan base.
Oh God, do I have to look up stuff? Thought we were ending this.
Chris, I like the fact that Chris knows exactly what I'm talking about, and Zenger's like, Constable Zuvio, Rick Oley, what?
Well,
what is going on right now?
Let's put it this way. Constable Zuvio has infinitely, well, that's an overstatement, but substantially less screen time than Rick Oley, but he has a Black Series
Rick Oley
figure,
at least talks.
And Rick Oley does not. Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win that Instagram contest for Fans Choice? Who do you think is going to win?
Who is this character?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly the question everyone should be asking. But I think, didn't he show up in Mandalorian or like something close to him in the background of the cantina or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe, but I'm not aware of it being
right. I'm pretty sure
I know Constable Zuvio was in a short story.
Apparently references a cut for stuff. Wow, and it's got keep showing images of just stacks on stacks on stacks of these just sitting.
But around. Hasbro fan vote. The choices are Ahsoka Vintage Collection, the first one, Old Republic Commando from the Old Republic MMO, Starkiller, and Weequay, I think is the last one. And between those four, my prediction is Ahsoka, because those Ahsoka fanboys can just not help themselves, even though Starkiller is clearly the best choice of the four.
Obviously.
In how do I put this? In Donald Trump voice, wrong room.
Well, you better like state your opinion so that can be recorded for the record when you find out that you're actually wrong. But go ahead.
Because we're never going to get that Old Republic trooper figure unless it wins a fan choice vote. Like at some point, we got a goddamn Jackson figure. There's no reason why Starkiller won't come down the pike at some point. And Ahsoka's inevitable, considering like the fact that we're getting like Hot Toys figures of her. Like that's inevitable. That Hasbro will circle back around her. We are never getting that Old Republic Trooper figure.
Yeah, but it's a fan vote though. So like if the votes are real, I'm saying Ahsoka because that thing's going for $1,000.
Them all recounted.
Exactly. But I'm saying if we're just going, which one of those is the most expensive by people who want it? It's Ahsoka.
But the thing about those, like if you look at like Star Wars, like Hasbro collectors, the collectors know that like if you wanted, you could have found Ahsoka in like 2013. Like if you tried, because that was like when collecting was like at its like worst. But like their Old Republic Trooper was like non-existent unless you ordered it off like Entertainment Earth in like 2014.
Yeah, it was the vintage collection version was like a European exclusive or something. And
exactly. That's what I mean. Like whereas Star Killer and Ahsoka were available if you at least had the initiative to go find them, the Old Republic Trooper, nobody ever got that. I've even heard stories about that figure showing up at like wholesaler like places like in like 2016. Like I've heard stories about that being like, oh, like we found like 40 of those there, because like it just trickled in like just very sparse places, because like it never got the like, and it wasn't even the vintage collection version. It was like the overseas Black Series version.
Right. Well, I don't care much for the Old Republic Trooper because I love that character design so much. It's all right, but it's a clone trooper to me at the end of the day. And
and that's why it's great.
As any good Old Republic fan knows, it's all about Knights of the Republic 1 and 2, and forget that phony baloney MMO. So like
those cinematic trailers are nothing short of phenomenal. Like those are what got me through like 2011 and 12.
Fantastic.
Like those just.
I completely agree. I remember being in school when those trailers dropped and being amazed by it. But like when it comes down to like which of those 3 actual games was good, the first one.
I hope they remaster those soon because I'd love to play them.
There's a rumor going around that they are working on it.
That rumor's been going around for a decade now. It's kind of like the like Terry Gilliam, like Don Quixote. Until I'm sitting in the theater watching it, I'm not like believing it.
Shut up, Zach. You kill my dreams and I don't appreciate it.
All right, this is my question for Chris. This is one final collector's question for Chris before
I want to tell my soda story at some point. I have.
That can be your moment of Zeng. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, actually, you know what? That works perfectly.
Okay, final collector's question for Chris. As we all know on this podcast, we are big fans of Palpy. Emperor Palpy is like the greatest Star Wars character ever. His best incarnation is Seth MacFarlane.
Yes.
The second best version is like falling apart corpse from Rise of Skywalker. For the Rise of Skywalker, both Funko and Diamond Select have produced toys of this incarnation of Palpy. Why is it that Hasbro has not created a Emperor Palpatine Rise of Skywalker figure, considering that is Palpy at his most Palpiest, Chris?
Because
answer the question.
Because there is no fundamental difference between Return of the Jedi Palpy and that Palpy.
He's wearing red.
Yeah, he's got like a belt on.
Listen, if there's like don't get me wrong, I really don't care for most of the opinions of one Mr. Star Wars theory, but if anything tells me that the sequel trilogy is not canon, like if in my heart of hearts, if there's anything that tells me 7, 8, and 9 are not part of 1 to 6, it's the fact that the Force can magically transfer part of clothes red rather than black over an instance.
I like how that doesn't answer my question, but I got an answer that I could never have hoped for. Like it's infinitely better than I could have ever asked for. So you know what? I'll take it. I love it. I love the fact that Palpatine's just able, like the dyad somehow gives him a new wardrobe. I love it. That movie, unintentionally brilliant. Unintentionally brilliant. Fight me, everybody. I will fight. Like I will die on that hill defending the Rise of Skywalker. Oh God, JJ, I never thought I would sit to defend your film, but here we are. Alrighty. Anything else? Or are we ready to wrap this up?
I just want to watch this video about how Star Wars comics reveal Vader rejected Palpatine as his master before Return of the Jedi.
Okay. So concludes this episode of the Knights of Vader, a Star Wars podcast. Check out the Facebook group, type Knights of Vader in the Facebook, and you will find us there waiting for you. Email us, kovpodcast@gmail.com. I have some emails I know I need to talk about. Everyone who's emailed us, I apologize, but yes, I am insanely busy. If you like what you hear, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever podcasting platform you're currently listening to us on. Thank you to An Insperiority Complex for providing our theme song. Check out the show notes to hear more from them. If you want to hear more from me, come check out the Cinemoddities podcast. We are talking about the 2021 Fort year, where we talk about 2001 blockbusters. The latest episode is Rob and I talking about Tom Green's absurdist masterpiece, Freddy Got Fingered. Check it out, folks. It is the highlight of the Fort year, hands down. But when you're not listening to Rob and I talk about Freddy Got Fingered, where can people find you, Zenger?
You can find me on ZengThis talking about nerdy topics every week. Zach, when will this episode be released? Because I might have another announcement I need to make.
Sooner rather than later. So I would hope at the very least tomorrow, maybe depending on how I feel, maybe even like tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, on that note, I've got an announcement. Definitely.
You bought another helmet.
No, but this pertains to that. Definitely check out the ZengThis feed. Me and Ellie have decided to do a special. We are working on something, and it will come to fruition on May the 4th.
Is it the Avengers Endgame episode?
No, that's still another thing.
Has Ellie seen Avengers Endgame yet?
No, not. She's almost there. She's almost there. The
She's
Loki series is pushing her.
She's up to Avengers Age of Ultron.
No, she's past there. She's Guardians
of the Galaxy Volume
Spider-Man. Far From Home.
Wow.
That's where she stopped at because it's not currently streaming, so she has to actually use a Blu-ray.
How is she Far From Home? That's after Endgame.
Spider-Man Homecoming. There we go.
Okay.
She's at Spider-Man Homecoming. Sorry.
Now I feel better.
Do a better job naming your movies, MCU. No, the announcement is this. We are doing a test of seeing people's interest. On May the 4th, we will be releasing the first episode of the ZengThis side project called Zing Wars. It will be exclusively focusing on Star Wars content. I'm, of course, as long as Zach will still let me on here, going to keep doing Knights of Vader, but it will be a Star Wars-focused thing for ZengThis. This is why you kicked off the show, by the way.
I don't know if I like this. Like, folks, I feel a little stepped on. I feel like my toes are being stepped on right now. I don't know if I can permit this to happen. Chris, I don't know about you though, but I feel threatened right now. I think we might have to take a bat to this Zeng Wars.
Like nonsense. I said,
what is this?
It is a test thing we are doing. So
yeah, this could be a torpedo in the water during this test. But you hear it from me.
Well, I can't feign innocence here. I might have also been on a consecutively released alongside Knights of Vader podcast that also referenced recently released Mandalorian episodes.
What is going on right now?
I'm out
of the game for a little while. Everyone starts having delusions of grandeur. What is it?
What it really comes down to is the fact that Zach, you need to follow that host Facebook chat a little more. It's like we got some great ideas flowing in there. We're talking about a lot of good stuff. We'd all love to do more Knights of Vader. So there's
Chris, do you want me to give you my phone number? Is this what this is about? The fact that you don't have my phone number? Because I know it's a very sore topic in the private group chat.
No, it's what it's more to me is I like to outsource. If I can get Joe or Zenger to send you annoying text messages and I don't have to, works for just fine for me.
You're telling me if I post my phone number in the group chat, you will sit there. Do you want it right now? I will bleep it out. Do you want it right now, Chris?
I will give it to you at this point.
Oh God.
It's done deals. I'm just saying.
What's that phone number? 1-800 True Fan, back what Star Wars collecting was back in the early 2000s.
I'm just saying, speaking as a longtime listener and occasional participant of Knights of Vader, lots of
Maybe
people
not
would like
much
if we did more.
I
That's all I'm
know, I
saying.
agree. Except there's not enough hours in a day. Trust me, folks. I would like to do more. I just don't have the time to do it. Remember, this used to be a weekly podcast. I trust me. As somebody who's had again, there's an entire episode devoted to what happened last year. I don't think I need to explain again why I can't do this on like a weekly basis anymore, unless there's like new content. If there's new content, I will be more than happy to do it. But I'm not going to devote it like a weekly level, just being like, okay, so in this week, Hasbro's releasing a Jackson figure. Why? We don't know, but I cannot Star Wars theory this mother. Like, I cannot. Like, I am not going to be that level of fandom.
Hold on, wait a second. Let me see what else we got here.
God,
I'm reading Stupendous Plane stuff because I feel like that's worse.
Well, yeah, but nobody takes that seriously. That's like Mike Zero level. Is Mike Zero still out there? Like, I've lost track.
Why some clones hated and others loved Jango Fett.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. Zenger, what is your moment of Zeng?
When I actually much like you with your Pepsi Blue, which I did have when I was younger, so cool. I can't wait to have that again. It's gonna bring me back to like the summer of the '90s.
No,
my moment.
It's 2002. You got it. It brings you back.
Close enough. Either way, it's like 20 years ago, and that scares me. My moment of Zang is they brought back Surge, and I mentioned I was like super excited because apparently one of the gas stations there had Surge, and I was at my old job, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait. I'm going to go get Surge. And one of the other employees turned around and goes, what the heck, Surge? And I'm like, you don't know what Surge is? And he goes, no. And I'm like, when were you born? Like, how do you not know this? And that was the moment I felt my age hit me, that I was speaking to somebody that had no clue what Surge was, and it blew my goddamn mind.
You know what's amazing about that? They also brought back Dirge, and no one knows what that is either.
Perfect way to end this episode. Fantastic, Chris. There's a reason why we keep you around beyond your extensive knowledge of Star Wars collectibles. Alrighty, folks. Good night, but not goodbye. And as always, may the Force be with you.